Hello everyone and welcome to the next module. In this section, we'll be building off what we previously did with white chocolate macadamia nut, where we dumped the pages. And this time we'll be going ahead and actually dumping the cookies as well. And just to illustrate what we're doing here, we have a Windows 11 machine. This is going to be our victim VM, and we are authenticated to Azure or Entra ID here. If we browse to our Linux machine, which is going to be our quote unquote attacker machine, we see that we are not authenticated to Azure or Entra here at all. So we do not have an authenticated session here. So we'll flip back to our Windows 11 machine here, and we'll just make sure that white chocolate macadamia nut is working properly and that we have the debugging port enabled and working. And we'll just go ahead and dump the pages again. And we see that everything is functional. We see our Azure homepage, we see our CVC homepage here. So I'll go ahead and clear the screen. And this time we'll run white chocolate macadamia nut, connect to port 222. And this time we are going to dump the cookies in a modified format. And what this will do is it will return all the cookie data to us, which we could then load onto our attacker machine. So I'll run this command again, but this time I will pipe the output to a file called cookies.json. And I have a quick Python web server listening in the same directory here. So we will browse to our attacker machine and grab the cookies that we just stole. I'll just save them to the downloads folder here. We will then browse to the Cookie Bro extension here for Firefox, and we will import the cookies that we just stole. And we can see here that we have all the cookies that were present in the browser session that we were looking at previously. So here's our CVC portal. Here's our Azure cookies or Entra or live cookies. And now if we go back to the Azure portal, and we refresh, we should be greeted with an authenticated session. So this is the same exact browser session that we had on our Windows machine, and now it's on our attacker machine, and we did not have to authenticate whatsoever. This account does have MFA enabled, and this bypassed that MFA requirement in this particular case. Again, depending on how your conditional access policies are set up within your Azure or Entra tenant, you may or may not be able to perform this MFA bypass, but in this particular case, it did bypass MFA, and we are greeted with the authenticated session. So just to go over the steps again of what we just did, we started on our Windows machine where we had an authenticated Azure/Entra session. We ran white chocolate macadamia nut, and we told white chocolate macadamia nut to return all the cookies to us in a modified format. And we piped that output into a file called cookies.json. We then exfiltrated or downloaded that file, transferred it by whatever means are available to our attacker machine, where we loaded the cookie file using the Cookie Bro extension here. We then refreshed our unauthenticated Azure/Entra session, and we were happily greeted with an authenticated Azure/Entra session. So hopefully that little demo does a good job of illustrating why cookie theft is such a dangerous technique and why it's a pretty fruitful avenue for credential access on the part of threat actors. So that does it for this particular module. I'll see everyone in the next one. Thank you.